Hi everyone, this is Kim Ellis, your clean living and wellness educator. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about, self-compassion versus self-esteem. Yeah, there is a difference. So I've got some notes, so just bear with me. So you will never speak to anyone more in your life than you speak to yourself. So let's make sure that that speech that we talk to ourselves is always kind and caring. So when we talk about self-esteem, we're talking about, you know, those affirmations and about I am good enough and people accept me the way I am and all of those things. But I want to talk to you more about self-compassion today. So I've noticed not only with myself but many people that I come in contact with lately that self-compassion is something that we really seem to be not honouring ourselves with. So, you know, we live in a fast-paced world with many pressures all around us. We have the pressure of work, we have the pressure of paying mortgages, we have the pressure of children, we have the pressure of so many things all around us all the time. And what I've learned through my life is we're absolutely all going to make mistakes. Every single one of us is going to make mistakes. So rather than going through to that place of feeling guilty or shame or feeling that you're just not good enough, and we get inside our head and we tell those stories over and over again, we actually, you know, we're shameful, you know, that we've made a mistake. Well, let me tell you that the only way forward in your life we're here. We're here to actually experience life, and we actually all make mistakes. We all make choices. Sometimes we're not so proud of our choices. But I want you to really consider that we need to be kind with ourselves around those choices that we make. So, I guess it's like a road. You know, we get on that path and, you know, sometimes there's a sidetrack and we go off the sidetrack, and then sometimes we go, well, hang on a minute, this is not the view that I want. So we turn around and hop on the track again, and then we go and take another side track. And, life can have some challenges, and, we're all faced with sadness, and we're all faced with death and grief and all of those things. And there's so many things that we go through in our life, and we really need to show some self-compassion to ourselves. So just to keep me on track, you'll just have to bear with me for a minute. So what is self-compassion? It's not the same, as I said, as self-esteem. So self-esteem involves thinking about good things about yourself, valuing your skills and qualifications and abilities, and knowing your intrinsic worth. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is recognizing that we all have faults, but also recognizing that these faults are normal, part of common human experience. People who are self-compassionate avoid self-criticism and instead accept the imperfections which sometimes lead to mistakes. It's linked to mindfulness and the sense that self-compassion people deserve their mistakes and problems objectively, and initializing and personalizing them. So what does that mean? So self-compassion, if we start to show ourselves some self-compassion and forgive ourselves for those mistakes, don't berate yourself over that mistake. Don't get into that story in your head, and berate yourself and criticize yourself and beat yourself up because you've made a mistake. It's actually, accept what choice you made at that time, but also accept that it's okay to make mistakes, and ask yourselves, what lesson do I need to make? What do I need to learn from that mistake that I made? So if you have self-compassion around those feelings and emotions and all of those things that are coming up, so be mindful of that. Maybe it's a great idea to write those things that are coming up Is it shame? Is it guilt? You know, we're very good at doing shame and guilt. All of us are very good at that, of doing those emotions. So, you know, take some time and write down what's coming up around there, and, you know, maybe give yourself some space and obviously the only way forward through that is to give yourself some forgiveness around those choices that you made. I mean, I love to use a blend of oil that's called forgiveness, because, you know, you not only need to forgive yourself, but you need to forgive others. So, you know, maybe sit with yourself and have 3 big inhalations of our beautiful blend that's called forgiveness, and you know, really sit with yourself and forgive yourself first off, but also forgive others for what they may have done to you, or what they may have said to you, or may have stirred up some emotions inside of you that really haven't got you feeling good. Because it's the only way forward in life if we really start to, well, forgiveness is the only way forward, full stop. So, you know, don't get stuck around you know, beating yourself up around it. Don't get stuck in shame and guilt, because we all make mistakes, but show that compassion with yourself and show that compassion with others. You know, it's not just yourself. That self-compassion is crucial, but also compassion towards others is also crucial. You don't know their journey, you don't know their story. But some of the things that I have discovered is if we do show ourselves some more compassion, well, then we're more likely to feel increase in motivation within ourselves. We're also likely to let go of that shame. You know, we can decrease that shame around ourselves. And if we do show ourselves more self-compassion, it's a really good chance that you will also increase your own self-esteem around yourself, you know. So rather than feeling that you're not good enough, or comparing yourself to others is another beauty that we all, you know, compare ourselves to others. Stop comparing yourself to others. You are good enough the way you are. So if you show yourself first some self-compassion and forgiveness, then you will find that your own self-esteem will increase as well. That's a really big part. It also can create overall increase in your overall well-being. Oh, there goes Willow. Also increase your overall well-being, your physical well-being within yourself as well, if you can let go of getting stuck in those emotions and so forth. And as we always say, you only know what you only know. So, you know, you're not expected to know everything. You know, life is a journey, and we're all on this journey together. We're all learning together. We're all making mistakes. We're all out there paddling ourselves. But what I can really has come to strike me in the last few days more than anything is we need to really start to come together as community, start to really come together as community. And, you know, so many people feel so alone and so by themselves, not only alone, but feeling lonely that they can't reach out. So, you know, let's come together as community. Let's really support one another and, you know, get rid of this tall poppy syndrome. We're all the same. We're all doing, you know, the best that we know how. So, but when we know better, we can do better. But, you know, have that self-compassion with yourself that you can let go of that criticism, that shame, that guilt, and all those other emotions that we all tend to be very good at doing. You know, it's amazing how instead of feeling, you know, that we just need time out and be okay to take that time out, you know, it's not actually a luxury. It's actually a necessity that we learn to take some time out for ourselves, particularly in this crazy world that we're living in. And, you know, there's so much going around fear, around resentment, around, there's so many things going on in people's lives at the moment. So if I can really encourage you to really be gentle with yourself, and it's not as I said, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity that we learn to schedule some time in about ourselves and really learn self-compassion, because you are the only one that can treat yourself with that. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. It can be a matter of pouring a beautiful big bath and sitting in the bath, or it can be taking yourself for a walk along the beach, or it can be sitting having a cup of tea with a girlfriend, or your mother, your sister. It's anything of those, but be gentle with yourself. People aren't out to pull you down, aren't out to judge you. You are your worst critic, and you are the one that has more criticism than anybody else around, and it's generally what's going on in your own mind. And maybe you need to back off those thoughts a little bit and really accept that you've made a mistake, or forgive others for what they may have done or not done to you, and really learn to, as I said, forgiveness is an incredible blend that I use every single day in my life, because it's not only forgiving myself, it's forgiving others, and it's the only way that I've found I can really move forward in my life and ease my own self-compassion. So hope you've enjoyed a few little tips about, not only self-esteem, but self-compassion comes before self-esteem. So don't just go onto the self-esteem bandwagon and start thinking I'm good enough, I can, all of those affirmations. I want you to start with the self-compassion, and then once you start with the self-compassion, the self-esteem comes through. So thank you again for tuning in with me. I really love these short little 10-minute or so videos that or podcasts that you're listening to. Continue to show yourself self-compassion, and I hope you've enjoyed our Series 1, Episode 4, and stay tuned. Follow me on with my podcast, follow me on with my YouTube channel, and please share it around, because you never know what this message might resonate with somebody else. So bye for now, be happy, stay well, and keep living clean.